Hi friends, I hope you have a wonderful day, and this time I'm gonna be reacting to teammates to enemies. Hamilton and Rosberg. That sounds interesting, so yeah, let's go.
Two childhood friends who've raced alongside each other for as long as they can remember.
Childhood friends? Huh.
Placed into a championship-winning Formula One team. And what do you get? An explosive rivalry like no other? Or are we sure F1 rivals are always doomed to end poorly? A little boy from Stevenage and the son of a Formula One world champion seem like unlikely friends. But in the case of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, that's exactly what happened. They both met through their love for karting and would be partnered up as teammates in the year 2000, where their friendship would really kick off. While the two certainly got along, it was...
Why I have a feeling that every F1 commentary channel likes Alonso. Isn't like he in his corner is Alonso, and yeah, we know that Rick is Alonso fan, and I think Deadly Fuel Up kind of sounded like that Alonso. It's interesting. I'm kind of curious about that.
It was clear they were very competitive from the get-go. Robert Kubica, who raced alongside them, stated that they would race each other over things as trivial as who can eat their pizza the fastest. That might be the only category I think I could beat either of them in. They would quickly progress up the ranks alongside each other, even remaining teammates in series like Formula A, where it was Hamilton who took the European Championship, followed closely by Rosberg. Some might say that's foreshadowing. It's also hugely important to point out what people within the paddock noticed about the two drivers. Firstly, it was clear to most that Hamilton was the quicker of the two, but it was actually Rosberg many fancied as being the better overall driver. So hang on, how does that make any sense? Okay, well, F1 comes down to a lot more than just being quick. You need to have a fundamental understanding of the mechanical and engineering side too. Not only will this help with setting up the car, but drivers can better manage brakes, tires, and fuel. And it was Nico who religiously studied this stuff, and it was perceived he would greatly suit the turbo hybrid era of Formula One cars. I suppose that's the German in him. Lewis was perceived to instead rely more on his ability to drive fast when needed and pull off risky moves consistently. But he would really come to prove these pundits wrong when his tire management was exceptional throughout his career. Lewis was quick to adapt. Now we are jumping ahead of ourselves a little bit here. Lewis and Nico would first have to enter into Formula One. Nico was up first, taking a full-time seat for Williams in 2006. Part of the reason he won this seat was again due to that engineering prowess he showed, as Nico scored the highest score ever on Williams' engineering aptitude test. It would actually be Lewis who first saw Formula One success after he joined McLaren in 2007, winning his first race after just 6 entries, whereas Rosberg in his career was yet to even stand on the podium. It must have hurt seeing the friend you compared yourself to for so many years be immediately given drastically better machinery to outperform you. But enough about Rosberg's feelings. Racing isn't exactly a very kind or fair sport. And at the end of the day, the real story would begin when the Mercedes company decided to race in Formula One. The German outfit decided to accompany its debut back in F1 with an all-German driver lineup. The young and promising Nico Rosberg and the old and accomplished, well, legend Michael Schumacher.
It's fantastic, and I
They were together? What?
really look forward to it. Also working with people like Norbert, Ross, Nick, and especially having Michael as a teammate is really really great, and so I think it's going to be a great season.
And with the two's esteemed mechanical and racing knowledge, they were able to transform Mercedes from the scraps of Brawn GP to a promising midfield team moving up the grid, and even securing Nico's first win during that time. So for 2013, with the retirement of Michael, Mercedes took on the then one-time world champion and childhood friend of Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton, where things took a turn for the team and duo.
Da, da, da.
Are F1
Yeah.
friendships always doomed to fail? Well, let's take a look at another quick
That's a very good question, actually.
example. This is
Yes, my friend.
and this is
Fernando Alonso Díaz.
They both became good friends at an awful McLaren team. And despite continuing to fight on track for years to come, the two remained good friends until Jensen's retirement. Until, of course, Jensen came back and peed in Fernando's seat.
Okay, I'm gonna
Peed?
pee in your seat. No, please.
But whatever. Okay, but this friendship, despite being very wholesome, didn't exactly see anywhere near the stakes that Lewis and Nico's did. And Alonso was even quoted as saying he hoped things between him and Jensen became more tense because the McLaren package was so poor. So maybe it was inevitable that when both of their dreams of becoming world champion were on the line, that Lewis and Nico's friendship would deteriorate. The first year they were partnered up went relatively smoothly, as Mercedes was still not producing a package capable of a world championship. But the next year, oh, that was a different story. 2014 saw Mercedes dominance, and Hamilton and Rosberg essentially in a fight amongst themselves for the championship. And fight they did. Rosberg took the first win of the season after Hamilton DNF'd with engine issues. But Lewis took back the next round in Malaysia, beating Nico by 17 seconds fair and square. We'd later learn that Rosberg wasn't too happy about this and chose
For sure.
to use some different tactics for the next race in Bahrain. The two fought wheel to wheel there, and Hamilton just barely came out on top by 1 second. But Rosberg's sudden catch up to Hamilton was no coincidence. You see, not only had he used engine modes banned by Mercedes, although not banned under F1 regulations, Mercedes had actually provided a huge series of documents to Rosberg, going into extensive detail on everywhere he could make up time to Hamilton and everything Hamilton was doing differently. And obviously Lewis wasn't too happy about this, but he vowed to get his engineers to do the same. So you might be wondering why, with rising tensions, Mercedes didn't just choose to implement a number 1 and number 2 driver. Well, it wasn't just Lewis and Nico who wanted to beat the other. Both sides of the Mercedes garage were also at each other for the win, and meant there was a pretty huge divide in the team at that time. Something you can only really afford to have with the luxury of being so absolutely dominant. Now Lewis and Nico's relationship really began to deteriorate, especially with an incident at the 2014 Monaco Grand Prix. Obviously, the Monaco circuit is very tight and a tough track, and during qualifying, Nico and Hamilton were neck and neck fighting for pole position. Coming into the final seconds of qualifying, Nico was ahead of Lewis on track and on provisional pole position. This was where he ran deep at the Mirabel corner and stopped on track, bringing out the yellow flags, which incidentally ruined Hamilton's lap. Now, Nico and Toto Wolff insisted that this was a genuine mistake, but when asked if he thought it was intentional, Lewis Hamilton replied, potentially, and would say that him and Rosberg were no longer friends.
In terms of mending bridges with your friend?
Well, we're not friends.
Ooh, sorry. Okay, it was a little bit
Oof.
petty from Lewis. Things just kept heating up though, with Rosberg making contact with Lewis in Le Mans
this one.
later on in the Belgian Grand Prix. A move that saw a lot of criticism, and even Nico booed on the podium. So now it wasn't the driver
Oh my. Oh my.
but the fans were also getting divided. But the season ended with Hamilton wrapping up the title in the final race of the year, and Nico would congratulate the driver on getting the best of him. Things had cooled down for now, but it was clear tensions overall would not be great. Heading into 2015, fans expected another close battle between Nico and Lewis. But of the rivalry years, this was
I guess it's good that you have a friend in F1, but like, I guess don't put them in one team? Or don't put them in a winning team. But you don't know who will win.
would actually be the calmest, as Lewis would win the championship relatively early on in the year. However, the race that decided Lewis's world title would be one to be remembered for years to come because of the controversy it caused between the duo. The lights go out and Hamilton and Rosberg go side by side into turn 1, where Hamilton pushes Rosberg wide and takes the lead. Later on, Rosberg retakes the lead until Kvyat heads into the wall, bringing out the safety car. It's all down to the last few laps, but Rosberg goes off at turn 12, letting Hamilton through, and Hamilton is champion of the world. But Rosberg wasn't happy. In the cool-down room, he had this altercation with Hamilton, where he tossed his hat at the driver, saying the move into turn 1 was one step too far, and Nico simply refused to spray champagne on the podium that day for his teammate and childhood best friend. It was clear that Lewis had walked all
Oh my.
over Nico in 2015, and it would be up to Rosberg to respond to Hamilton if he wanted any shot at the title coming into 2016, and he took this very seriously. He enrolled himself with a psychologist to be mentally prepared for the fight with Hamilton. He blocked out all of the media, read nothing about himself in the papers or online. He even took the paint off his helmet to save as much weight as possible, and then he gave it everything. In the last 3 races of 2015, Rosberg had taken the win in all of them, and he continued this momentum into 2016, giving himself a 7-race win streak by taking the first 4 race wins of the year and opening a 43-point gap over Lewis Hamilton. Nico Rosberg had become a monster. Of course, Hamilton would respond, and in the 5th round of Spain, took pole position over Nico. But going into turn 3, the two were side by side, and well, this happened.
He's ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Round turn 3 we go. And it's Nico Rosberg and Hamilton's onto the ground. Hamilton's had a massive crash and he's crashed into his teammate.
Blame was placed on both drivers. Niki Lauda called Hamilton too aggressive and labeled the move as stupid. However, Jacques Villeneuve, 1997 world champion, accused Rosberg of driving dangerously. Needless to say, they both felt the wrath of team boss Toto Wolff and probably left the track feeling pretty terrible. Lewis would take 3 wins in the next 4 rounds, and Nico secured only 1. So it was clear he was starting to feel the pressure again from his teammate, until the two arrived at Austria. Nico was in a commanding lead until he began to suffer from a brake issue and therefore allowed Hamilton to catch up. The two inevitably crossed paths and again made contact, this time with the blame being strongly placed on Rosberg and Toto Wolff threatening the two with team orders if this brainless driving continued. Into the final round of the season, Rosberg led by just 12 points, and as the race began, he followed Hamilton, who was in first. Now, if Nico finished second and Hamilton finished first, Rosberg would win the championship, and Lewis knew this, which is why Hamilton tried to slow down Nico and push him back into the cars behind, which if he did fall behind one, Hamilton would win the world championship. In doing this, Lewis was defying team orders from his race engineer and the team's technical director, but Nico prevailed and therefore took the world championship. And all Nico felt was relieved. He'd spent the year ignoring his wife and kids, he'd pushed himself to the mental limit, and he'd even lost as much weight in his legs as possible mid-season in order to save weight in the car. 5 days after achieving his dream and winning the championship, he announced his retirement. Enough was enough for him, and he'd stated,
I think that environment is too bad for anybody. If you are all the time fighting with your teammates, with your team, with everybody, probably this wasn't good for his family, and it's good that you can manage this, but if you are struggling with your teammate, I don't think it's okay, and I don't think it's good. Maybe different team, maybe, but yeah, he got what he wanted, so yeah.
just how much fighting Hamilton had taken it out of him. But was it all worth it for the two of them? A childhood friendship left in the mud.
But like in this moment, they look really happy. Like I understand that probably was the start. but it looks so awesome.
But irreparable. Well, neither of them had any regrets, and it seemed it might not have been irreparable. Recently, Nico has claimed him and Lewis have met up for a talk and have actually repaired that friendship. It only took 10 years since first becoming teammates. If you did find this deep dive interesting, please subscribe, as I'm going to be making a lot more Formula 1 content. Goodbye!
Yeah, this was really interesting. I seriously didn't know that they were friends before, kind of. Like they were driving before together. But oh my. It's nice that they are back together. But yeah. It could do a lot of for your mental health. Doesn't sound great. Like, not at all. But yeah, I really hope that you did enjoy this video, and if you did, please consider to leave a like and subscribe, and if you have other suggestions, please leave them in my Discord server, and yeah, take care. Bye!